Hello everyone, this video is to show you how to use ALLDATA when building an estimate. Many times I hear that you guys are using ALLDATA when you don't know how to do something, how to take something apart, or when you have to do some sectioning on the vehicle. But in reality, you should be using it on every estimate. And let me show you why and how. Here's an example of a procedure to follow when you build an estimate. We won't be looking at the entire procedure, but the section that concern ALLDATA. So let's go into the technician reference section. If it's the first time you're using it, your browser might block the new windows that's going to be opening. So just make sure if it doesn't open, you might have like a little symbol that's going to say that the window has been blocked. So just authorize your browser to authorize all pop-up from ALLDATA website. Once it's open, you didn't have to select a vehicle because all the position statement and the other manufacturer release are split by manufacturer and are not necessarily model or year specific. But you need to go in here to find out, let's say on Honda, what is the ADAS system that needs to be recalibrated when there's a collision and under which condition. So you have all the abbreviation, type of sensor, and in which condition they need to be recalibrated. You will have information in here on if the metal that you're using or that you're repairing, how you can repair it if you're allowed to, and which temperature you can go up to, on a post-scan and pre-scan requirement, use of salvage or used part on the vehicle, the repairability of wheels. So all that, it's available into your position statement. So just take the time, before you start the estimate, to go see what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and also go into other manufacturer release because there's other valuable information in here. As for the BMW, that you need to replace the steering gear when there's any damage between the wheel and the steering gear. So take time to read them and make sure you understand them and use them. Then, once you have selected your vehicle, we're going to go into ADAS Quick Reference. In here, you're going to be able to find out all the ADAS systems that are available for that vehicle and what calibration are required. Like if you remove and replace the component, or if you remove and install the component, you can see that it could be a static calibration, which means with the targets and everything, or it could be a dynamic calibration, which is usually just put the system into relearn and go do a road test with it, but just make sure you follow the procedure to make sure you do it right. The next section we're going to be looking at is repair and inspection required after collision. You'll be able to find this in body and frame, and in here, repair and inspection required after collision. So here you're going to find everything that the manufacturer requires you to do after a collision. In this case, after any collision, you need to perform these operation or functional check. And then, depending on the severity of the collision, there's going to be a list of things to inspect and replace. If the pretensioners are deployed, another list. Seat side airbag, something else, and front airbag deployment, another list. So you need to go through this list to find out what needs to be inspected and replaced. The next section we're going to be looking at is how to disconnect the battery. Not because we don't know how, but it's to see if there's any calibration that needs to be done when we do it. Because on most of the vehicle you're going to be working on, you need to disconnect the battery to deactivate the airbag or to protect any module while welding. So I'm going to go and pull out my procedure to disconnect the battery, and if there's any calibration that needs to be done, you're going to be able to find it at the beginning of the procedure or sometimes at the end depending on the manufacturer, but just make sure you go and pull that information out to put it on your estimate. To know if we're going to be able to repair a component or if we need to replace it, we need to know the type of material we're working with. You're going to be able to find that in body and frame, and then underneath construction material. You go into location, select your vehicle, and in here you're going to see each component and the type of material that it's being used. So to know if we can repair, we just click on it and it's going to tell you what type of repair you're allowed to do, if you're able to put some heat to it to fix it or not. Or if you're not allowed to do any repair on it. The last thing we're going to be looking at is the repair procedure for each component. What you're going to be looking for is for sectioning, calibration, one-time use component, or procedure that are not included. Here's a few examples. So for sectioning, let's take this Silverado and we'll go for the B pillar. So I'm just selecting pillar, B pillar, sectioning section. You might have different ways of sectioning it, not like a long section or a short section. But then you're gonna have the complete procedure on how to do it, where you're allowed to cut, what type of welding and everything. Then for calibration, we can look at a bumper on a RAV4. So I'm just gonna go through my procedure for replacing the bumper. And a lot of time it's gonna be telling you at the beginning or at the end of the procedure, like in this case. I'm just gonna scroll down all the way down to the end of my procedure on how to reinstall the bumper. And if there's any calibration, they're going to be listed here at the bottom, so that you see that we have a few things to calibrate on this RAV4. One-time use part could be, like a window, like on the same vehicle. The rear window, it says that it's a one-time use. Or if we look at the Ford F-150, when we replace the truck bed, or if we just have to remove it to make some repair on it, the bolts that are fixing in place, it's one-time use also. So we just go into the procedure once again, scroll down, like we look at if there's anything that is one-time use, like in this case you see a little garbage can. It's telling you that you need to replace the bolts. Things that are not included in the procedure, same vehicle. If we do the side panel on this F-150, the side panel is in aluminum and it's covered with a heat coating. And if you look in the procedure at one place, right here, it's going to tell you that you need to remove the E-coat on it, and that's not included into your procedure. So then you can add that line to your estimate. Thank you for watching. And if you need more information, you can contact me to know who's your local ALLDATA Business Solution Manager.